I'm Wolf from Healing Wolf Coaching, here to bounce with you off the bottom of recovery and rise into the light again. Let's breathe in through our nose, filling our whole torso, belly first, then chest, hold it, and then exhale all the doubt. You know you're going to make it. You know this is happening. There's an energy that's building inside of you. You may or may not have noticed it yet, but that's the energy of life, the energy of your true essence. You could call it God energy, you could call it sun energy, you could call it just life energy. And as that energy builds, then it's going to shine out into your environment in spite of whatever sensations you've been feeling. And as it shines out, it's going to give you a wider lens of vision. You're going to be able to see more and know and feel in different situations what's going to help you the most, whether it's somatic exercise, meditation, whether it's going to be just taking a walk, whether it's going to be talking to a friend or a coach, whether it's going to be writing or just doing something that you really love. All right, so in the beginning, I said I'm here to bounce with you off the bottom, and that's what today's video is about. Before I get into it, if you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, ring the bell, and comment. Tell me what you'd like to hear about, and I'll make a video for you. Isn't that great? I'm here to do that. So bouncing off the bottom. When I was on the bottom, it felt like there was a huge amount of distance between the darkness I was in and the light at the top. And I just saw this video of this little fish that's been going around in social media, and it was a fish that lived her whole life at the bottom of the ocean. And she decided that she wanted to get all the way to the surface and see the light before she died. And that's what she did. She rose up to the light. And so how did she find that energy to come up from that depth, that bottom? Well, when you're at the bottom, the pressure is very intense. The dark thoughts, the negativity, the sensations, even just the room. Like I was in a bed in a dark room in a dark winter and storms outside, rainy day after rainy day. And so that pressure, that darkness, and the feelings of despair can be really intense. But the thing about pressure is that it's also pushing. And if you push off that bottom, then there's only up, because that's the bottom. There's only one direction you can go, and the energy is immense. And once you begin to harness that energy and rise, then the pressure lessens and you rise. You've got your breath, you've got the air in your lungs, and you're coming up. And there's nothing that can stop you from coming up. You're headed up, 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 up. And it can be a journey where you push, and then maybe a recovery response. Then you push again, maybe a recovery response. But you're going to be moving up from that bottom. The first push off the bottom takes bravery, and that bravery tells unconscious mind, hey, she's doing this, and things ease a little bit. And as you push off that bottom, know that you're going to be building that momentum as you rise. And you might not even notice it at first, but when you do notice it, you'll be looking back and say, I'm a long way from that bottom. Wow, here I am. So not too long ago, I was in a cave. I went down this cave. It was very scary. And I had to brace my body between these walls and down through the walls, down at the bottom, was a drop, which probably would have killed me if I had dropped down to the bottom. But I did crawl down. I braced, and then I reached. There were rock holds, and it was twisting and getting down. And once I got all the way down to the bottom, I was able to to hang out there and see these petroglyphs. And the water was coming in from the ocean. It was crashing into these caves. And so down at the bottom, there was fear of going back up, and it was a real fear. It felt like there was a possibility of death or injury. And so the fear was rising up, and there was an energy there. And to meet that energy of fear, I built this energy of certainty. I'm going up, and I'm going to give it everything I have. And I visualized myself. I didn't know what steps I was going to take, but I kind of had this vague visualization of I'm going to be bracing, I'm going to be holding, I'm strong, my legs are strong, I can do this. I know I'm going to do this. And so with that energy, I rose up through it and I moved through the steps. And as I moved through and got into that wedge position again, little by little, I inched my way along, and the light was pouring in from the little hole that I crawled through. And as that light poured through, I knew I was going to make it. Like even before I was out in the light, I knew I was going to make it. And so that's just an analogy of the journey. In my own personal journey, the bottoms, I had several bottoms. One of the bottoms was when the week that my father died. So I had this grief that I was processing, and my nervous system was just amped up. When your father dies, it feels like you're now an orphan. Like that's how it felt. It felt like, oh, I can't talk to my dad anymore, and I love him so much. And it took a while for me to reconnect with his energy. Thankfully, mystically, I had my iPod, which has always been a way for me to connect with people who've passed away, and his voice came through to me. I had a vision of him. So that process made the grief process a little easier. But then I went in for an injection at a naturopath, and my nervous system is so amped up that when she stuck that needle into my hip, I lost all sensation in my leg and was effectively paralyzed for a while, and had to lie there until I got sensation back, which thankfully I did, because my brain was sending signals, for my leg and foot to move, and they just wouldn't move. So it was a terrifying experience for me. And to move through that, it felt like a bottoming process. And then I had all sorts of new sensations. My whole system was having a fireworks show, so to speak. And then I was bedbound for so long. Then I had another bottoming process when I realized that my whole life as I'd known it was collapsing. And I had to accept that, and it was a process. And so that was very emotional. And through that emotionality, I had to process a lot, and there was a lot of sensation and a lot of learning of how to allow those emotions to come through and find a strength and a stability on my own, and as much as possible be able to pull that bravery and that energy and that almost like having a father from within, having a God within rise up through me and say, you can be your own sustenance here. You can be your own support. You can be, and not to say that I didn't have other support. I certainly did. I had people, a group. I had coaches. I had a physician who was helping me get off the medications they had put me on. And anyway, so the point here is I bounced off the bottom, and bouncing off the bottom felt like bouncing off the earth, the dirt. I used to lie in the yard and just lie on the grass, because that's kind of only place I could be other than being in bed. And I had another huge transformative experience where my mind essentially disconnected from my body, and that experience felt like it was a huge energy of rising as well. But the message here is you bounce on the bottom. Even if you have a double bottom, it's okay. You have two different big things happen. One is bouncing off the bottom, letting go of all the physical treatments and rising into the mind-body approach. The other might be a huge emotional event that happens, or confronting something from the past and clearing the trauma, as I do with clients. Clearing that trauma can be extremely energizing. When you can clear that and you can get clear about what's happening with your nervous system, then you got that powerful energy to rise. And that's what's happening for you. So if you want to work with me one-on-one, head over to healingwolfcoaching.com and click the book consult for a strategy consult. And you can also sign up for my newsletter, because I'm going to be doing some more fade pain workshops, and I can let you know when stuff is happening or if I have any other insights that might be helpful. And you can always find me here. So thanks for watching and subscribing and being a part of my mission. I appreciate you. I love you. And I know you're going to make it.